welcome to the FreshSqueeze podcast. We are back again. A little bit of a different arrangement. I know the guests can't see that, but now we have a Mega Lion on the bottom. Uh, we have long-winded topic, top right, and myself, Smoogly, I'm on the top left. Apologies for the background. I just got done, almost done, doing a renovation in my basement, so no outlet color cover, and just it looks a little weird, but we're gonna roll with it. So
That's what
we are
she said.
going to get started. Omega Lion had something that he wanted to kind of discuss in the world of trading card games. So go with it, man.
Absolutely. So, so as of late, I actually got back into the TCG business last year. I want to say in about post winter 2024. And this would suggest that there was a time that I was in it before and a time where I stopped. And there was a reason for this. And as I come to find out since I returned, let me tell you, my favorite game, trading card game, has definitely changed a lot, and it does fundamentally it does not feel like the same game. I mean, the rules really haven't changed all that much. I mean, really, technically speaking, but it's just how it's played. So the game that I want to talk about today is the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. For our viewers who are not familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh is actually based on a manga by Kazuki Takahashi, who actually passed away some odd years back. And hell, his copyright actually is not on any of the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff anymore as of 2020. It's owned by Studio Dice since then. But in 1996, he created a manga called, which in Japanese is translated to Game King, because in the anime dub, the main protagonist is known as the King of Games, Game King, Yu-Gi-Oh, Game King. Since the anime itself took off and was pretty fresh back in its time, followed the official trading card game, because in Yu-Gi-Oh, the anime, the players known are called duelists, and they use these cards that are able to summon monsters. They come in the forms of monsters, they come in form as trap cards, and they also come in form as, well, they used to be known as magic cards, which I'm sure you're like, wait a minute, isn't there something called that? Yes,
Whoa,
and
whoa,
they're now
whoa,
called
whoa.
spell cards.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
just to, just to chime in real quick too, it's pretty awesome. Kazuki Takahashi died drowning because he saved three other people who were caught in a rip current, and then he was found later wearing snorkeling gear back in 2022.
Dang.
Yeah, but he saved people's lives. Dude was straight up G.
He is. Yep, and actually a lot of the protagonists kind of reflect the selflessness that Takahashi had. And not to mention, he's also well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Takahashi was a very outstanding mangaka. He really was, and his work clearly showed it. And now Yu-Gi-Oh has turned it into not only known for its unique anime and their own unique tropes, but it also has its own trading card game that actually has two different, like, how do I put this, like, leagues, if you will. There's the official trading card game, which is in North America, and then there's the original card game or official card game, which is in the Far East, Europe, things like that. And they have their own different kind of rule set, and they also have their own, like, ban lists, things like that. So with that said, what I wanted to bring up is what's now known today as modern Yu-Gi-Oh. With us being now in 25 years into the 21st century, things have, of course, have changed technology wise. Just overall gaming experience has really changed. But however, as we in this Fresh Squeeze have talked about, like, how gaming quality has gone down in terms of content, in terms of originality, in terms of just a lot of things that make you know video games what it is and and how it grew to such a big phenomenon to what it is today, despite the apparent issues that they have. A lot of the TCGs and Yu-Gi-Oh not being limited to Yu-Gi-Oh has this, but however, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the, is a giant in the trading card game. But what I've come to find out is that how the while the rules have not really changed, how the game is played, as well as the experience that older players have as well as new players have, has changed. And as someone who's played Yu-Gi-Oh since I was like 9, and then I stopped playing back in 2018 because they did do a rule change, which I was A, not aware of, and B, I felt that it killed one of Yu-Gi-Oh's greatest features, was deck diversity. Like you could build a deck of almost around anything that you want and make it yours and still have fun and win matches. And now since then, I've heard that the fan base has really degraded some. The overall outlook and the Yu-Gi-Oh and just Yu-Gi-Oh in general in terms of TCG has changed, and not for the better. And now that modern Yu-Gi-Oh is I mean, I personally I mean I still enjoy the formats that it has, but the thing is though, um it's really gotta if I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh with any stranger, the first thing I will say about Yu-Gi-Oh is it has a very bad meta problem. Very, very bad meta problem. And why I feel meta is a problem, and my personal opinion with meta in general, no matter what game we're talking about,
Yeah.
video game, trading card game, whatever, I think it's part of the reason why modern gaming has, such a really bleak outlook on the future. Because I mean, meta to me, and my philosophy with meta is that meta doesn't really require skill to use. Meta is something that is built to be like when that is like 95% unbeatable, because that's how these companies make their profits, is off the meta, because people want to win, but they don't want to put in the work to be good at this particular game. And with meta or meta decks, to be with Yu-Gi-Oh on the with Yu-Gi-Oh being the topic, there's so many players that play the same thing now, and
Yeah.
that to me, I'm sorry, that's not skill. If you have to use a deck that is literally built to be that's literally built to win, because that's how literally the creators of the game have it set up now, because that's how they make their profit margin, and you can't come up with something of your own, then I'm sorry, I don't think you're skilled.
So
I and I'm
you got a video
uh,
that we could watch on this. Is that essentially what that's discussing, or?
Pretty much that, and then just also like because he does talk about deck diversity. That's something I've always harped on about Yu-Gi-Oh was the deck diversity, because again, that's what made Yu-Gi-Oh a really awesome game. Was it was different from Magic the Gathering, because Magic the Gathering is dominating TCG right now. Well, that or it's Pokemon, which I hope it's not, because I hate Pokemon with a burning passion. But but um but Yu-Gi-Oh, what back in the early 2000s when it first started, was a good game. It was awesome. You could build anything you wanted and it could work. Now it just seems that, especially in like in a professional setting, like in regional tournaments, international tournaments, people the participants seem to use the same, almost the same exact deck build, because it's meta. And again, I'm sorry, if you have to use the same build as like majority of other players, because you want to win, that doesn't say a lot about your skill. Anybody can just say, "Oh yeah, I'll copy and paste
Fielder?
this deck because it's one of the best decks right now, and I'll go play with that." Yeah, that doesn't take much thought or skill.
Is it still just tier limits?
Is this what?
Tier limits.
No, Tillermans has gone no, because they got their field spell banned, which actually kicked them in the dick a little bit. and also in the Master Duel format, a lot of their cards, which that's the same thing with Master Duel. It's also been forbidden, and not to mention a good portion of their boss monsters are either semi-limited or limited. But no, it's not tier laments has really fallen off. In fact, I've seen less and less people use tier laments. The dominant decks that I've been hearing about right now is Mitsurigi and Yummy. Yummy especially. And not to mention the more people want like a particular kind of card, if you go to the TCG player market, that's going to increase the cost of that particular card. Like Yummy decks are expensive as fuck. Like they like the deck list. Like if you look at certain deck lists, it will tell you too what the cost is card by card, and depending on how many copies of the card you play. And I've seen Yummy decks range from like maybe $200 to $300 to maybe $400 to $500. Not exaggerating.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's give this
It,
video a
it,
look.
If you don't know, one of the best decks of the next format is going to be Lunalight. And Lunalight's gameplay is sometimes very frustrating, but the end board itself
Yep, they
is
got
what
support too.
really
Lunalight's
grinds
an
my
older
gears.
archetype,
We've
but
had
they
a
got
Towers
support,
formats
just this
before,
past year.
where a Towers is a monster that is unaffected by card effects. Basically, you can out it by any normal means in your deck, like negation or destruction, or even just common removal like banish or bounce. You have to deal with that monster surgically and in very specific ways, and sometimes you have to build your whole deck around that one monster. Of course, the original Towers was Apocrypha Towers, which gave the name to this type of monster, but since then, and more recently, we've had to deal with other Towers monster, mainly X-Pearly Noir, which was just an extremely oppressive Towers monster that got some curly cards on the Forbidden and Limited list. And today, that card is Lunalight Liger Dancer. It requires Lunalight Leo Dancer plus an additional 3 Lunalight monsters. It is level 12, and it has 3,800 attack and 3,500 defense, which is a huge stat for any monster. It must be fusion summoned with the above materials, and it is unaffected by card effects except for Lunalight cards, which means that, for example, an SP Lil Knight's restriction to not attack directly the turn you activate its first effect doesn't apply to Liger Dancer. Also, Baguska, which switches the entire field into defense and negates everything, also
that card is banned.
Does not apply. And this is not just the activated effects, these are just card effects.
Is a nightmare.
It can make a second attack during each battle phase, not on monsters, just in general,
I beat it, though.
which means that it's very close to game all on its own. It's basically 7,600 damage. And, as a quick effect, in a soft once per turn, it can send a Lunalight monster from your extract to the graveyard as cost, similar to Mirror Jade, but destroy all opponents' special summons monsters, which is devastating, because usually that's how you're gonna out that monster. So, is this a problem in the next format, and is this a design problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general? This is what we're going to be discussing today. Will this card turn the next format into an unplayable Towers nightmare? Today I'm going to talk about 5 arguments on why Towers monsters shouldn't exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! This might be a hot take, but I don't think anybody likes the lack of interactivity and other things that this type of monster provides. And specifically, a monster this strong that your opponent can make a couple of these on their field and is not once per turn is basically an auto-win button, which Konami usually tries to avoid. First of all, I think the most important point about this card and about Towers monsters in general is that they break interactivity. And I think this is what people like the most about Yu-Gi-Oh! A format where you can actually play and interrupt your opponent, effects go back and forth, you negate this, your opponent destroys that, and you end up sort of like playing a live game, unlike card games like Pokemon, where it's basically turn-based. And Towers monsters cut off the main appeal of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, dynamic back and forth play. If one player can just slam a monster on the table that says that you basically just won the game, the duel shifts from who played it better to who drew the out,
so we're going to that
actually
now,
played through some hand traps. And Lunalight is actually really, really good in doing that. And again, this is no hate to Lunalight or Lunalight players, I actually think the Lunalight engine as deck is pretty cool, but the end goal and the end result means that this is a game played by only one player. Also, I think that the second point about towers is that they punish deck diversity. When a monster is unaffected by card effects, which basically means it has pretty much all-around immunity, the only answers left are very, very narrow and are very limited to a specific set of cards like kaijus or a sphere mode or stuff like that. Or just going over 3800 attack, but with its protection effect to destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls, that becomes increasingly hard, especially if there are two of them on the board. That forces decks to build their deck around a specific monster or a specific deck that they might encounter. Because you could only see maybe one Lunalight player in a tournament, like we saw in the finals of the World Championship, but if you don't have a specific answer in your deck to that card, you basically lost on the spot. It doesn't matter how well you play your deck or how skillful you are.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, because see, when certain archetypes come out, or there's older archetypes that get phenomenal support, like last year, not this past year, but last year, it was there was an archetype known as Ubel, and Ubel, I still hate that fucking archetype. Still do. I don't care if it's meta or not. I hate it. That thing was a nightmare to fight against. But see, what he's saying is that when a particular archetype gets a certain support, and if it shows to be super effective against like 95% of decks, people will say like, oh, that's the new format now. It's this and that and this and that. So what this guy's saying is, because this Lunalight boss monster is literally immune to all card effects. You can't banish it. You can't destroy it by card effect. You can't change its battle position. You can't do anything with it. The only way you could, like he said, the only way you could possibly have any chance of getting rid of that monster and getting it off the field is if you manage to use attributing effect, or if you just overpower it with a bigger monster. Which, I mean, doing that isn't too hard, because I don't think the stats are that impressive, because the cards I use have way bigger muscles than that card does. But however, the card effect though of it being unaffected by any of all card effects, that is a royal pain in the ass. I don't know how many times I've ran into decks that had either one singular card that was just like a whole board of its own, or it was just a whole board full of monsters that did pretty much that, and you could do pretty much nothing, and the game was already lost. So the only thing you could do is just take it like a man and get your life points reduced to 0, or you can just scoop, which means surrendering. Um, but the thing is, um, the other thing that's wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh though, is that there's this thing called hand traps. And what hand traps are is there's a mechanic in this game called trap cards. And usually what you do is you set them down. And most of the time, well, the rule is that when you set a trap card, you can't use it the same turn that you set it. You have to wait till the next
turn. Irrelevant in the game because they're too slow now.
Exactly. And hand traps, no, they can be activated almost at any time now, and that kind of ruins that too.
You're talking about Ash Blossom, right?
Yeah, Ash Blossom, Effect Veeler, Nibiru, the Primal Being, Droll and Lockbird, which is the biggest menace to society right now.
Yeah.
What are some other dangerous ones?
The game needed instant speed interaction like that to begin with. They tried to have that with like your Mystic Space Typhoons, things like that. But the way that speed works in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the way that the stack works in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the chain works, it's very clunky and weird, and it doesn't work right the same way, and nor as intuitively as it does in Magic the Gathering.
No, it doesn't.
The spell speed stuff is very goofy in that game, and it's always bothered me a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just the meta in general. It's just the fact that if there is a particular archetypes that are proven to be meta, people will only like, if you go to like Master Duel right now and do a ranked gameplay, you will most of the time see that people are using like maybe 1 to 4 different archetypes, and a lot of times you're not going to beat them, because it's also determined on who wins the coin toss. Because that's what I've seen people complain about that too, is usually it's who goes first and who goes second. That also has been a big deciding factor, which is also bullshit. That
The
it shouldn't be like that. That's not
entire
fun.
TCG market overall is down $60 million this year.
I mean,
The Yu-Gi-Oh is?
No, all of them.
Oh, all
Like
of them, really?
TCGs generally have 60 million less dollars than they did, like in earning power, than they did last year. Yeah, the research trend shows that we're on a downtrend right now. There are a lot of certain card games that are successful, and most of them are just kind of middling right now. But like, and Magic the Gathering saw a 6% revenue drop in 2023, which was fucking huge.
Damn, 6%?
I mean,
Yeah.
it just kind of has to do with the same. I haven't played Magic in a few years, but my biggest gripe with Magic is the same thing that you have a gripe in your card game. So when we were going into this, I was like, man, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, and literally have never played Yu-Gi-Oh, so I can't really comment on it. But the comparison to my own individual gripes that I had from like 5 or 6 years ago, as far as Magic the Gathering, are essentially the same thing. It's just that there are certain uh, decks that can be made that just become meta, and it's a little bit harder because if you're playing within the season, right, then the meta is going to really change. If you do commander deck, then I suppose it just depends on how you play. I prefer to just play, unofficial, and just whatever deck you put together is what deck you put together. But um, yeah, it's always going to come to a meta no matter what. It's just like um, any
Here,
game. I mean, that's like literally Apex Legends. There's going to be a meta, and they even changed the meta.
Sure.
Uh, I
I'm
get the
dropping an
impression.
image in general I wanted you to see really quick. Look at this card. It's called Supreme King's Arc. Look at all them words. And you know what? It's a 30-cent card because it
Oh,
sucks.
yeah. Yeah, and Supreme King's arc isn't and
Well,
that
look at
arc
all those.
isn't.
Imagine handing this to a friend of yours, and they would look at this and be like, "Look at all that."
Yeah, I mean, that kinda is what steered me from Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the complexity of that, but then I came back because I missed it. I'm like, "Well, I'm not the same person I was back then. I can actually read faster and comprehend things a lot faster than I did back then."
Well, and just
Because
trying to explain penduluming to people, or like how you even get a fusion pendulum, or like just mechanically the game is just so much to ask of people, and then like
Yeah.
it changes so much every couple of years. Like
Yeah, because I mean,
Magic doesn't
because
really do that. They mechanically have changed the game board in Yu-Gi-Oh!
they have.
Yeah,
They have.
like it's not the same game. It's a they even have you seen speed duels now? This new thing they're
Yeah,
doing?
but Speed Duel's already been discontinued because it didn't sell.
Because it sucked.
Yeah, it
Nobody
sucked.
wanted that. They were like, "Hey, let's just reboot the game," but all of your old cards mean nothing. Like it was so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, Speed Duel was dog shit because all it really was is that you played with two less fields. It was only 3 with your, including your extra deck, Monster Zone. Which also I did find that weird too, that they added a 6th zone because there's usually 5 monster zones and 5 spell and trap card zones, and then you had your main deck, your graveyard, banishment pile, and then you had your extra deck, and then your field spell, zone, and that's all you had.
Yeah,
And,
which they
yeah,
still
just
played Edison that way, right?
I've heard a lot about Edison, but I
Yeah, I
don't
never
know
played
much about
Edison.
it. Because when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2024, I didn't know there were different formats because I didn't know
Yeah,
that was the thing.
I do
Now,
what
Genesis
Edison
format, I do have
as
high hopes
time
for that
wizard.
one.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think that sounds cool. Nothing. I was just saying that I think that sounds cool.
Yeah, Genesis, yeah, because I think Konami finally got it through their thick greedy skulls that, yeah, our player base is really pissed at us right now, and we're losing player numbers by the month. And so yeah, so last month they created a new format called Genesis. And Genesis is the rules are the same. Fundamentally, it's the same game, but pendulum monsters, link monsters, as well as the extra monster zone does not exist in that game. And not to mention they're
Here, I'll share the article.
there's no
Just in
ban
general.
list, but there's a point system instead, which I did find that a little intuitive. And actually, a friend of mine and I were talking about something like this a few weeks before this was announced. I said, "Is this what you're kind of talking about?" He says, "Yeah, a point system, because in Magic there actually is something like that. It's a point system that determines the difficulty and the complexity of, like, is this deck casual? Is this deck somewhat of a challenge but can't be beaten, or is this like a really stupidly competitive overpower, like you better have like the best cards and you better come with that 1000 IQ to beat this deck." That's kind of what Genesis is. But however, it's based on what card you're putting into your deck. So, like, for example, so there's the card name and then there's points. The typical Genesis format game is a 100-point limit. Now there are now if there already have been tournaments being held both in locals and as well as regionals, but I don't think they've integrated it into WYCS yet. But they haven't done it in Master Duel either, which my personal opinion, they should have started that in Master Duel before they made it an official format, because um Genesis, it does challenge, because it does make you think about, like, it does make you conscious of, like, what you put in your deck, because if you use 100 points on one card, you can't use any other cards. You have to use cards that have no points. And there are a good amount of cards that do exactly that. So, so far from what I heard, Genesis has gotten noticed. They've already had their first tournament, as Long-Winded said, and they have had a pretty good turnout in the first Genesis regional format tournament. And what I did see, though, what were the finalists, and like what decks they use. It was diverse. There wasn't just 2 to 4 different decks. There was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
That's better. That's better.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's better. That's what I'm talking about. So, and personally, am I developing a Genesis deck? Yes, I am. I've already
Nice.
actually developed my deck list. I just got to get the cards.
Well, that sounds like a ton of fun, man. When you finish up building whatever, let me know what it is. I'd love to hear about it. But
Absolutely. So in conclusion, it's just that Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most goated animes of all time. It's unique, it was fresh, and now it's starting to make a comeback, because I noticed that celebrity athletes and as well as Olympian athletes are showing their love for Yu-Gi-Oh, and that has really caught attention to the mainstream. And now Nike's doing a collab with one of the characters known as, well, in the anime it's Jorichi Wiaha, I think is how you say it, but in the English dub it's Joey Wheeler, and he had some pretty nice shoes in the anime, and they made like an exact replica of his shoes, and you get a deluxe copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon with that set.
Cool, man.
So, yeah, so I mean, it's not, I mean, overall, Yu-Gi-Oh does not suck. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is the TCG, which is a very big fundamental foundation of what makes
I'll say
Yu-Gi-Oh
it.
Yu-Gi-Oh
I'll
is,
say Yu-Gi-Oh sucks.
yeah, it it really doesn't. I mean, I don't think the game is dying, because there's some YouTubers like, yeah, the game's dying, the end is near. Nah, 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 nah. Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh
well,
died in 2016.
yeah, but except it didn't.
Yatagarasu killed Yu-Gi-Oh. We're just playing with a corpse.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about that, because Yu-Gi-Oh actually influenced had a lot of influence in my childhood. I actually have a very big collection. I probably have like maybe around 1,000 plus cards maybe now, and I got 8 decks built now.
I own none anymore. I think I might have an artifacts deck, like Artifact Labris and all that stuff, like sitting in a box somewhere. But beyond that, I just play digitally, like exclusively.
Oh, you mean like, are you talking about like Master Duel?
Well, and not only that, but like on the console, I still have what is that? The Link one. What's the one?
Oh, Duel Links?
Yeah, not Duel Links, not the mobile game, like the actual like Switch game.
Oh,
Dual Link
Yeah, I know what you're
Evolution?
talking about. Yeah, it's basically like you play through like every single like series of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, but you can also play online against other
Yeah, I
people.
can't. I know what game you're talking about. I can't think of it. I think it's
Yeah.
Link to Legends or something like that.
Link Evolution or Legacy of the Duelist.
Legacy of the Duelist. There it is. Yes, yes, there it is. I know what you're talking about. I can see the cover. Can't think of the name.
That one was
But yeah,
fun.
Master Duel is like the electronic way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But except
I still play
well
the
again.
ROM for Forbidden Memories too, and a bunch of the ROM hacks for it because there are so many ROM hacks for Forbidden Memories that are like tons of fun to play.
Mhm. Yeah, and they actually just released a new they did like a remastered edition of like one of the first games, Forbidden Memories being one of them. Um and like they made it into like a collector's edition kind of thing, and then you got a promo secret rare alternate art of Harpy's Feather Duster.
So Smoogly, have you ever played any PlayStation Yu-Gi-Oh games?
I've not played any Yu-Gi-Oh whatsoever, digitally or in
Never.
real life.
Okay.
Not even Duelist of the Roses?
Like on the
Nothing.
PS2, yeah, we all got that from the rental store back in the day for like well, at least one day. You're crazy, man. It's nuts. But no, there was a PlayStation 1 game that released before the actual card game ever came out. So mechanically, none of the rules for the card game apply to this PlayStation 1 video game.
Huh.
And you mix
Mhm.
the monsters together with absolutely none of their card logic applied to it at all. Like, in even the developers, when they were making the game, just went with their gut feeling based on what they thought the image was for what should mix with what. So like there's a bunch of monsters and stuff that you mix together to like make higher level monsters. The problem is that you can only make one in the game that's about as good as about 2800. And then you have to slap a bunch of equipment on it to make it big enough to fight the other stuff that your enemies can make, but you just can never make those, right?
Yeah.
Like and then that's where the game is like incredibly difficult and if you miss certain things on the RNG you literally just cannot beat the game and it everything in the game has a really unforgiving drop rate and so there's been a
That game is hard as fuck.
it's terrible. And so it's become like a gauntlet of sorts for people to like sit there and try and speed run it. And like the shortest speed run is like 72 hours.
Dang.
Some other ridiculous long. Yeah, because it's just impossible to do that fast. You have to sit there and go through a bunch of the little animations and go through stuff, but like just trying to beat like the last four guys kills like most of the runs. If you can even get that far most of the time, just trying to beat like the last people is almost impossible. It's nuts. They just keep doing the same like big number bullshit over and over and over again and just destroy it. But like no, some of the ROM hacks are fun. They add like some of the newer cards. They add text with rules on it and like because like none of the cards in the base game actually have like any effects. There's no text on them. They're just numbers, right? So I
Is it kind of like is it kind of like Duelist Kingdom kind of thing, but just
no here I'll pull it up. It's
because
really
yeah,
funny.
because I don't think I was old enough. Because I don't think because what year did that game come out?
Forbidden Memories itself came out in 1999.
Oh yeah, I was still in diapers. I didn't pick up my first controller until I was like 3. I did have a PlayStation, which I actually still have it. I still have
Yeah,
it right
here.
over here.
I will
Same
share.
exact one. But no, I didn't know Yu-Gi-Oh existed until I was like probably 7 or 8 years old, and it was introduced to me when I
I
sent a
was
kid.
there from the no pun intended Genesis.
Yeah.
We don't have to watch the whole thing. I just wanted you to get like some flavor of the like the effects here. Look at this. And so like this is them attacking them obviously, but like I wanted to see like the mixture because like you would select two different cards based on what they look like and then they would mix together to like be like so you would mix a dragon and an electric thing and it would become Thunder Dragon. And then you would mix that with another lightning thing or another dragon thing and it would become twin-headed Thunder Dragon. And then that's how you would beat the game most of the time.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, it does not play like Yu-Gi-Oh at all.
You turn that into zombie dragon.
Yes, like
I
it's
see what you mean. Yeah, that's insanity.
it is like the most weird LSD fever dream of a game that ever came out, and it's so hard to beat. And like, it's just it's so every time I ever talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, man, I will bring this up a million times. I sat there at my 15th birthday party with like 20 friends, and we all just went ape on this thing.
But yeah, Duels of the Roses was pretty good too, because it because you got to see like the animations of like the monsters going at it and things like that, and yeah, I liked it. And plus, it was more of a board game kind of thing too. It wasn't just like tabletop like what you're seeing right here. Like you had like a whole ass grid, and you can move your cards in certain positions
It
and things like
unironically
that.
did the Assassin's Creed thing and like ripped a bunch of real things out of history. And did you know that it is actually a genuine sequel to the game that like this? Like Duelist, like they have a consistent plot and through line through most of the games. Like there actually is like a story being told.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, just reiterates my point. It's just that's how unique Yu-Gi-Oh is as an entity. Both whether you're talking about the anime, the card game, just the overall franchise of Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most unique franchises in the world. In my and the and just it and the stuff that how people express their love for Yu-Gi-Oh around the world does all the talking for it. It
Yeah.
does.
Like
It was just the TCG, which is a big principal foundation of Yu-Gi-Oh, does, however, have issues, and it has taken a toll on its fan base. And like I said, when I came back, I just found it very strange how like just the just the very just building a deck in itself is a separate skill, because if you don't know how to build your deck right, you're not gonna have a good time. You're not.
what do you mean, man? Build your deck. It has all the cards you're allowed to run printed on it.
True.
I'm
Well,
making a joke that they only make hyper specific archetype cards because like it's absolutely nuts how super specific some of these deck builds get.
There is some not great things going on in the world of streaming.
Specifically just to Emiru, dude. Like what the
Yeah.
hell? I feel so bad for her.
So, top Twitch streamer Emiru shocked the online world. She went live and accused her ex-boyfriend Mizkif of sexual assault, emotional abuse, stalking, and blackmail threats. She stayed silent for months, but came forward after what she described as a new safety concern. Her claims instantly went viral across Twitch, X, and Reddit,
She
pulling
pulled up
millions.
receipts. Bow, 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 bow. Oh, she got them with both barrels, dude. There ain't no denying shit. It was all right there in black and white. People can see.
So let's check this out, right?
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Ms. Kiff has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I have attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue, and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself, but like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done. And I have always believed in not condemning people or starting drama online. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking, why am I doing this and why now? And I would like to explain that.
Interesting. So
I'm kind of surprised she would even did she do this by her own free will, or
so this is
like just
what Ms. Kiff replied back.
Emiru has a lot of rabbits. It was her calling when she first moved in. These were a big part of her life. But as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water, sometimes not having clean.
What? He's like just bringing up a thing to smear her about how she takes care of her rabbits?
Well,
bedding
she
for
kind of
weeks.
accused him
I,
of
along with many others,
maybe
who would come
possibly being
over.
the reason her rabbits were dead. She can't say. She said she can't prove anything.
What? Her rabbits got killed? We didn't
Yeah.
get that part.
Yeah, that's in there
What?
also. Like Mizkif might have killed her pets. He was abusing her physically later. Like that he like sexually assaulted her for real. He did. Like it's all there. It's so nuts, dude.
That's crazy.
Would give
Yeah,
them what
but
they
this is
Hasn't
also
even
like she just got assaulted at TwitchCon. This is like she moved in with Mizkif and like the rest of the org after she had to move out of her house because she's been getting stalked. Like it's absolutely nuts what this poor girl has had to go through just because she likes playing video games. If you ever watch her stuff, she's a total pro. Like she literally just chills. I think she would be one of the coolest people to hang out with. Like and
Yeah.
genuinely not in like a like, oh my god, this girl is so cool, I want to have sex with her kind of way. Right? Like she's just dope. Ah, it's so sad to see.
along with many others who would come over, would give them what they needed, and I would tell her all the time to take care of them, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits, so much that many of them just died over 1 year of being around in my house. My cleaning ladies would clean them just because they felt terrible, and my brother
I've
once
always
came
hated
over
this
and
guy, dude. He sucks.
So I can all like having a hard time hearing what he's saying over the stupid voice chat little
Yeah,
paid thing. Super annoying.
Twitch.
said, and I quote, "If you ever marry this woman, I'll never forgive you."
Dang, dude.
Yeah, they said you got
dirtbags.
this because we believe you, said no one under the bottom right. Yeah, no, bro, it ain't happening. Like I
That's
said,
ridiculous.
she pulled up text messages, bro. Like I saw the way he would talk to her. There were other streamers too that were like, one time he walked into a room and started screaming at her, and then noticed that they were standing in the corner, and then just changed up completely. Like, oh hi there. Like, oh, he's like a fuck. He's just wow, creep, dude. Never.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I've never liked
didn't
Mizkif. He also ducked some other allegations before.
I didn't see anything about that. So I caught this. I watched a Taylor Lorenz. Knowing. Okay, so there was this assault at TwitchCon where this guy comes up and essentially just tries to like kiss her or whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh, it won't even let you. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he literally just comes up right on her and tries to kiss her. Yeah.
What the heck,
Ugh.
man?
Yeah, good thing there was a security guard or whoever that guy is.
So that was one thing that they talked about in that video. I'd recommend checking it out.
Who
It's with
does
Taylor
that?
Taylor Lorenz. And she has a guest on, and I thought both of them brought up some really good points about how when you look over here, this guy that pushed him off is actually her private security.
Yeah.
So
Good. Well, so good.
um,
Somebody. Yeah. I mean, you would think that, like, yeah, somebody should
Yeah.
stop that. Like, yeah, because I mean, her body language clearly said to like,
Her
yo, I do
criticism
not
is
like
that
this.
the venue did not provide enough security to prevent that from happening in the first place. Right.
and I think that while so it wasn't necessarily about the venue's security so much, it's just there's just a very very toxic culture in all of this kind of atmosphere, and that's one thing that I've noticed is like the further you or the more that you watch some of these people, and I don't watch a single like I've never just come to a stream, you know what I mean, and just sat and listened or watched to a stream, period. It's teach their
I've done
own.
that
I'm not
several times.
knocking it. I'm just saying, like, to me, I just personally have too much stuff going on, and I can't just be spending a bunch of time watching a stream.
I
But
could do it while I do other stuff. That's why I do
sure.
it.
But I guess the point is that these spaces are just not safe. They've gotten extremely unsafe, and it's just getting worse and worse. And I mean, Charlie, Penguin Zoo or
Because
whatever has talked about this too, where
because people that are like internet celebrities or celebrities in general. I will say this, like I said, as people who know me that my overall look on celebrities and celebrifying people, especially politicians, I don't care for that. I don't really care for celebrities, but I will say this though about the celebrity culture and pop culture in general when it comes to that. What really concerns me, and this is and this is also a psychological perspective too, the moment that a person reaches like a certain notoriety, like they or a certain amount of fame and or a certain amount of like popularity levels, it's almost as if they are no longer looked at as human beings. They're
Well,
looked at as an entity of that just creates content, and and their only sole purpose is to please the masses in any way, shape, or form. And now, okay, now, so of course, the person that went up to her and grabbed her and things like that. Of course, I don't know who the person is. I don't know what why he would go and do something as. Oh my God, keeps watering today. I don't know why he would do something as brash as go into a con and just go up and just start making moves on, making unwarranted advances on her and things like that. And I think it's because she's probably not looked at as a human being to some
yeah,
people. I'm not saying every single person. I can't make that generalization, of course, but I feel that a lot of people, especially like musicians, like TV stars, adult actresses, they're not looked at as people. They're looked at as objects, you know, property, if you will.
sure.
And I think that's part of the problem is that we're losing the human aspect of of just God, I cannot find my words today. I think you get what I'm trying to get at here. Or here's another good example: Korean pop bands. They are treated certain I've heard that like in South Korea, certain K-pop members of the like K-pop band members are actually literally treated like their property. Like they are literally not forbidden to see their family members. Like they
Jeez.
are not allowed. Like
I
for
think they
example,
are forbidden because you said not forbidden.
I did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine, but they
that's
are
bad.
forbidden.
Yes,
I'll be punching myself in the face later for that.
I'm
But
just trying to make
anyway,
sure we mean the right thing.
You don't gotta punch
yeah, they
yourself.
are forbidden. Yeah, let me rephrase. They are forbidden to see their family members for no matter the reason. And there was times that even the family members even tried to go see them, and they were like had the police called on them. They would get assaulted and pushed out and kicked out of like buildings that had their family members in there because, like I said, they're not looked at as human beings,
No,
and that to
they are
me
property of
is
the company because they signed a piece of paper that said that they were for money. But yeah,
yeah that's
I understand that it's not also a different thing, and that's kind of the other part too. Is like you can't just walk up to these people and treat them like normal people because they are a piece of intellectual property at this point. You went to a corporate building where they are corporately sponsoring this person to corporately stand there and sign pieces of paper. They don't want to talk to you. They are not interested in being your friend. They don't want to. So like, leave them the alone. Like it's that
right.
easy. Don't be a creep. Get your book signed. Get your whatever. Be a fan. Sit it on the stream. Watch. Talk. Whatever. Do like your normal person stuff. Just don't do this weird idol culture bullshit. Didn't you watch Perfect Blue back in the '90s? Like we know this shit is bad. Like the Perfect Blue is an anime movie, by the way, so you probably haven't seen it. But yes, it talks about this very thing. There's an awesome anime now called Oshinoko that's talking about that a lot in Japanese culture. Because there was a Japanese wrestler that just committed suicide because of online bullying and harassment and a lot of this kind of thing. Where, like, we need to create safe spaces, and as a community, we're too afraid to create safe spaces because of the accountability. You know what I mean? Like they've said, "Oh no, if a crime's happening, don't get involved." And like we're not supposed to. We're supposed to go alert whoever the hell it's problem it is actually supposed to be. But what do you do when there isn't a person whose problem it's supposed to be? In this, where there is no security or nobody else, like you know,
I
Or
think a big
assuming that or assuming that the people that are responsible for enforcing that safety does anything too, because just because they're paid to do that doesn't mean they do a good job of it or don't do their job at all.
Yeah, not to condone vigilante action either, but like at the same time, that poor little girl never should have had a hand laid on her like that in a place so crowded. It's nuts to me that people
Yeah,
think
that
that
that's yeah, it's
desperate
just
to
yeah.
do that.
I mean, clearly the guy, like I said, because what my point is, like the guy clearly just looks at her as not even as a person, and that to me, and that's what really concerns me about, just that's just why I don't care for celebrity culture in general, whether if it's an internet celebrity, music star,
So
pop
it's
star,
just
movie
weird, right?
star, whatever. I just don't care because number one, people just idolize them, which they should not be idolized. And number two, and then also for the person that is a celebrity, they're treated like property. They're not humans
Well,
anymore.
I think that it's the two circles where it's that you need to realize that you can think they might be cool to hang out with in real life and like them for that, but then there's also this reality over here where you don't know them in real life and you
Yeah.
don't know
Right?
what
No,
they're
no,
like.
no, no. That's not what
And
I'm
like,
saying. No,
no,
it's just
I'm
I
saying that like these people that are the problem, that's what's the disconnect there. They cannot separate that part out of their lives. They think
well,
that they
no, you're
are
right. 'Cause
theirs and that they own that. I'm talking about the fuck the companies. We're talking about the problem with the fans because they're the ones that do shit like
Yeah, the
this. The
fans are
company
oh
really
doesn't
yeah,
bad.
no,
make them.
yeah, a lot of fan bases nowadays are just out there. Hell, it's even like that in the NFL world because I mean there's certain fan bases that are like really known for being like good to like guests and things like that, which is actually what my fan base, the Green Bay fan base, is good for. And then there's like the Philadelphia Eagles fan base. They are one of the they're literally ranked one of the worst fan bases to be
They
around,
burn
especially
down their
if you go
town
to
every
the
time they
Philadelphia
win or
Eagles.
lose.
Huh?
So they burn down their town every time they win or lose.
Exactly. And or hell, someone freaking fired a gun and shot somebody. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
it's
It's rid-
crazy.
it's insanity.
I mean,
So
there's a
yeah,
lot of
and
people these days that just like feel the need to have parasocial relationships with
I would also
people,
like to
and
rescind my
it goes
previous
way
statement.
beyond just streamers. That we're talking about. This is in politics, dude. There's people
Mhm.
literally cheering about a Kamala Harris up on stage after she genocided kids for who knows how long. And I'm just saying, like, they don't know that lady. They don't know that she's accepted $9 million+ from freaking APAC and things like that. And it's just so bizarre to consider these people to be like essentially your good old buddy or your good old friend when they're literally just up there for their own purposes, right? So like in the case of
Well,
streaming, they're there
That's
for
what they want you to be doing.
that's why they're presenting what they're presenting to you. It's on purpose. It's very intentional.
right.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, oh yeah, I want to, no, they should be hung out with or talked to. No, I'm not saying that either because I know that some of them are very arrogant towards people, whether they're their fans or not. I know because they look at their fans as just like, you worship me or just shut the fuck up and get out of my way. I know there's plenty of celebrities like that, sports stars included, like who used to be my favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. That dude went from the most modest, chillest dude to now in most later years, he's talking about like the weirdest shit and saying the most out of pocket things on like podcasts and also talking to like his teammates and his coaches like pieces of shit. He's gotten like when he used to play for the New York Jets, he got the coach fired because he blamed the coach when it was literally Rodgers being a freaking Paradonna, and he not to mention got former Packer players to come that literally were either free agents or retired to come the New York Jets because they were his buddies. And well, the Jets failed miserably. They had like probably I think last year they had like I think they maybe only had like 5 wins out of like 17 games. Like they
That's great.
failed miserably.
That was a great reaction frame. You should use that smoothly.
Great reaction frame.
The Graham Platner video you had pulled up there. Yeah, the way
So I guess that can be our segue. But real quick, I wanted to say before we go to or get off of kind of streaming and video games and stuff. I recently had the opportunity to play some Arc Raiders, and it's going to be coming out here on the 30th, I want to say. Anyway, highly recommend it. The thing that's pretty neat about it is that I don't know how many people in the audience have played an extraction shooter. It's become a pretty common game type, but it's been largely considered for the most part to be more of a hardcore type game because essentially you go into the map, you go around, you loot things, and then there's various different points on the map that you can extract. And obviously, other players that are in the map can shoot you at any given time. There's team-based, combat, things like that. The thing that I like about this versus, like, for example, Escape from Tarkov is it's kind of like a happy medium. It's, if you've ever played Escape from Tarkov, it's very hardcore. You have to know your weapon types and your ammo types are really kind of more of like a mill sim. And this game, it has complexity, don't get me wrong, but it's just a largely pretty approachable. And another thing that I'll say is they are top tier as far as the environment goes. When you're walking through this movie, when you're walking through this game, it feels like a movie. And it feels like you're the star in the movie going along with your friends and in a living environment. And kind of the backdrop is that, robots have essentially, for the most part, taken over. And you're just essentially scavenging out in the world and using technology to get better items and things like that. And it's literally match based. So, match is going to be like 25 to 30 minutes. But anyway, when it comes out, I went over and checked it out in the server slam. I plan to play it. It comes out, I think, on the 30th, and I had a pretty positive experience. And I've had tons of negative experiences with, Escape from Tarkov, things like that. Not saying that those are necessarily bad games. I'm still probably pick up Escape from Tarkov every once in a while, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
that
I've seen it
if you're
from time to
wanting
time.
to go just like quickly into an extraction shooter that is easy to understand, has really cool environments and a cool feel in general, and is easy to get into, even Shroud over there, which that guy's not Shroud, the other guy that was on there. He mentioned that the thing that he particularly likes being a professional gamer is a lot of people that you play with this is like the first extraction shooter they've ever played. So he's going up against a lot of noobs, but I'm just saying, like, even if you are really big into, FPS or third person shooters or whatnot, you can still have fun. There's plenty of squads out there that are pretty advanced, and the other thing is there's robots out in the world that essentially patrol around, and they're not easy. They're doable. Most of them are pretty well doable, but largely they add to the intensity of the game because you're not going to just kill them in one shot. You got to like actually spend
You
some
got
time to
it's a
actually kill them.
yeah, you gotta. It's not just run and gun. You gotta. It's a battle of wits.
Right. So there's some sneakability. There's lots of neat features. So I really like it. I'll probably be checking it out when it comes out. I don't know if I'll get it opening day or whatnot, but here in the next couple weeks, I'll definitely be playing this. So anyway, cat's out of the bag. We wanted to talk about Graham Platner. Graham Platner is a prospective senator, I believe, for Maryland.
Yeah, he was running for Senate
Yeah.
out there.
So this recent controversy came out that an old video has resurfaced. I guess it was at his brother's or sister's wedding, and he's shirtless, and he has essentially a skull and crossbones, which is uh, and a specific type of skull and crossbones that is a Nazi tattoo. So just wanted to show this really quick. I'm not going to share the audio. I just could not find the original, so we're going to watch it off of Breaking Points here. Make sure you check out their channel if you get the chance. They typically have a relatively easy hand or even hand. So this over here on his chest that we're looking at there, I know it's kind of dark, but I'll show you here in a second. A little bit better, or what the actual tattoo is. So essentially the problem right now, if you're Graham Platner, is that he is considered to be like a left wing, I would say he's center left, somewhere around a little bit past center left. He's got a history behind him. I want to say that he used to do mercenary work for BlackRock, former Marine, and he openly says that he wants to go after the oligarchy, things like that. I would say he's still probably, if I were to guess, a liberal, but maybe he's just kind of like a social liberal. There's a little bit of socialism in there, probably something like an AOC. But any comments? I know that myself and Long-Winded Topic are former Marines, so what do you have to say about that?
Like I said, his entire story is that in 2007, him and his boys got drunk as shit in Croatia and got these tattoos together. And like, I don't really think that they would be doing Nazi shit in Croatia in 2007. You know what I mean? I don't really know if he's educated. It's enough to at least draw the line where it's like I don't know if he necessarily knew what the fuck he was doing. And if he did, he's still not in a position to platform or espouse the beliefs of the people that would want him to have that tattoo. So if he is a Nazi, he's a bad Nazi. And I like my Nazis sucking at being Nazis, right? Like, that's good. We like bad Nazis better than we like good Nazis. So
Yeah.
be a shitty Nazi all day. But I do like when my Nazis are honest Nazis, right?
Sure.
I don't know if he's a Nazi. Based on his political positions, I don't believe that he is. I do think that he was just some dumb drunk idiot who got a tattoo and had no idea what the fuck he was doing.
I guess my thing is big red flag on the BlackRock stuff. I don't
Yeah, that's
particularly
interesting.
I don't particularly like the guy, but I guess if you are of the belief that voting actually does anything, then I would say he's probably better than whoever his opponent or his running opponent is. So sure, I suppose. I
He
just
got a
think that
tattoo.
I think we can get better people.
Of course we can. But I'm
There's
saying the guy covered the tattoo. He said, "I'm not a secret Nazi. As a matter of fact, I hate Nazis." So like if that's his public take on the thing, I'm not going to sit here and try and insist he's a Nazi as long as he keeps doing anti-Nazi shit. So like,
uh, I
all
think
right.
the worry is that the guy is essentially so we have to get a little bit into politics for this. So liberals, the only thing liberals do is essentially compromise with fascism, or they do nothing, right? And
Yeah.
the concern is regardless of whether Graham Platner um, is or isn't a Nazi. That's neither here nor there, I guess, because once again, if you're compromising with fascists, then you must be maybe you don't share their beliefs, but you're still compromising with fascists. So it's just kind of like puts you at least on the same spectrum. And I would just prefer people that directly speak about the working class. I mean, he does bring up in his videos the oligarchy, which I mean, Bernie and also, like AOC have done their, anti oligarchy tour or whatnot, but um I guess the concern is just, why did we pick this guy in particular? Why does the DNC see him
I don't live
as,
there enough to know. And I imagine it's because the people in his district liked him. And he's probably likable enough because he got a Nazi tattoo when he was 18 in 2007. Like, are you the same person that you were in 2007?
I suppose
Oh no.
not. Um
Definitely not. Not even a little bit. Like, I'm not even close to the same person I was then.
yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to this particular scandal, quote unquote scandal,
Yeah.
um not that big of a deal. I do think that they are going a bit overboard on it, as in the
Yeah.
media is going a little overboard on it.
It would be
Let's just
different if
put
he
it
was
this way.
defending it.
Well,
Because we could live in that world where he's like, no, I am a fucking Nazi, and you're gonna have to deal with it, and I'm gonna be in the fucking Senate, and you can suck my dick. And like,
well,
then we just have to deal with that because that's how freedom works,
I would
right?
just
Like, thank
say,
you. I'm glad that we're not on that level yet.
as far as real politic goes, I don't personally think that this guy should apologize for anything. I
Yeah.
don't even think he should do an apology tour,
I don't think he should have
because
acknowledged it at all. He should have
right
just
wing
fucking
people
got rid
never
of the tattoo.
apologize for anything. And
No.
quite frankly, it just gets a little bit tiring. Is this all like, at most, he should have just been like, yep, I got it covered up and I'm moving on with my day. If you guys want to interview me for a different reason, then we can do that. But otherwise,
You
essentially
know what
kiss my
he
ass,
You know what he really
And
should have done if he was really just going to cash in on the social brownie points? He should have turned it into the Black Lives Matter fist, bro.
yeah,
That would have been smart as fuck.
that'd have been.
If you're gonna flip flop, do it like a magic card. Pop.
All right, last topic here, and we're gonna have to get wrapped up. I
Try
looked
safe.
up some interesting things in
Artificial
NPC
intelligence.
AI,
We're getting a lot of
AI
things
in
for
GTA
GTA 6.
6. So supposedly, and trust me, we're just going by their word, right? I think that Rockstar, for the most part, has provided what they were, said what they were going to provide. Sure, maybe they missed a few marks here and there. I don't keep up with it, but for the most part, they deliver a good gaming experience. They're not going to promise the moon and then give you nothing. So, anyway, looking into this, non-playable characters are going to be quite a bit more dynamic, and the way that they're doing this is essentially showing states, as in like the state of the game world, and then having them react in certain ways based upon those states. So like they're going to have, not necessarily, they will have a routine, but the routine can be altered depending on what is going on in the world. So if every single day they're going on a trip to the office, working at the office for X number of game hours, and then leaving, going to the grocery store or whatever, there's all of these various different factors. It's like beyond being just state machines. This is like modifiers that modify each individual player or NPC state, not player, but NPC state. And this has never really been effectively done, I don't think. I mean, the closest I could think, just in a sneaking context and not as far as a broad GTA type deal, would be like in a Metal Gear Solid 5, where, the enemies would change based on, how, what type of weapons you typically use on them. Like if you are constantly knocking out a bunch of dudes with a silenced trank gun, then they would start wearing helmets and things like that so that your tranquilizer darts couldn't go through. And I'm thinking this is quite a bit more advanced than even that. It's saying, essentially like, if a player causes chaos in a particular neighborhood, the residents' behavior towards them changes over time, showcasing a dynamic memory system. And they interact with their environment differently in response to dynamic weather system. NPCs seek shelter during rainstorms, dress appropriately for the weather, and even comment on the changing conditions. And it's also going to play into the police response. So they're going to use more advanced tactics and coordination, based on the player's level of threat. As far as I understand, they were just kind of essentially throwing a bunch of NPCs in cars at the player. And if you could get away for an X period of time, then, they just kind of go away and piss off, and you're good for a while. I get the impression that, they're going to have something more realistic, that must navigate a more intelligent and adaptable law enforcement response. So they might actually cordon off areas. They might choose to, have the NPCs actually come from the police station in the city and have like an actual response time. They might choose to block off certain roads and things like that, and it be less random, if that makes sense.
And I call one names and have him respond.
So they're not gonna like just.
And I talk shit and get hit.
So the police, like, what they get called, because I mean, I don't really play GTA. I don't even own the game, never have, and nor do I have any intentions. But I have played it with friends, and I noticed that, like, if you do certain actions, and there's the star rating, which means that the police are on your ass. So are you saying, like, the police will be more coordinated in how they, like, respond, instead of just trying to, like, crash into your car, or just trying to, like, drive up to you and be like, "Yo, sit the fuck down," kind of like that, or is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
it's so like it will use, and this is just according to them, we should expect to see that they're going to use actual tactics that we would see in the real world, that police use in the real world. We would expect them to, if you're in downtown, they're gonna, and like, let's say, they're gonna block off the bridge if it gets too high of a threat level, right? They're not gonna, if you're like threat level 4 out of 5, or especially threat level 5, you're not gonna be able to get off that island. They're gonna block off all of those exits, and you're gonna essentially have to hide somewhere within that area to be able to get them off of you. And I think that
No, wait, go back.
what?
Hold up. I need to see them cheeks, dude. Did you see that jiggle?
You see them cheeks.
Bro, yeah, look. Bob, look at that, a little bit of a. It's there, bro.
No physics.
We've come far enough. The technology is perfect.
We got butt jiggle.
The ass jiggle was sublime.
That was perfect.
I
It
mean,
was
this is a
exactly as it
cinematic.
should be. Well, yeah, but like,
Yeah, but and then here's the game. She falls over and her ass just goes like goes.
the day of the cinematic is dead, dude. We don't do that anymore. All of these things are done in engine now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good then.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't. We don't do like we did back in the Diablo days, where we would like make an MOV or
Right.
an MP4 or some other file and then load it in post rendered. Like, this isn't rendered that way.
No, I
Like,
can kind of see it now.
They put reshade on it and like give it some lighting and stuff like that to like make it dramatic and determine where the camera is. But like, it's all done in engine.
Huh. Well, anyhow, I am obviously excited to see what's going on, but this brings me to my next little thing in GTA 6, is that there's a lot of word going around, and like I said, we can end on this here, that GTA 6, a lot of people are making the rumor that it might be $100 price tag.
Yeah.
To be honest, that would not shock me, because let's face it, because like we did like a couple episodes ago, Nintendo's starting to push the envelope and making from $70 games to $80 games or whatever it was, and then we have Microsoft making their Game Pass from this price to now they're almost paying $30 a month for it now. And then of course that got a lot of uproar and a lot of reaction, and not the good kind of reaction, of course. And shit like that. So to be quite frank, I would not be surprised at all, because number two, well, that's number one, and number two, because this game has been one of the most anticipated games for like the past like decade, probably.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna use that as leverage to get more profit.
Do you know what day Grand Theft Auto 5 came out?
I don't know what day, but
It was
I know
2013.
yeah, it was like 2013. Yeah, I
September
was in high school when it
17th,
came out.
2013. It
Yeah, I
is
was in high school. I was in high school, I think.
2025. 12 years. It came
Yeah.
out on the PlayStation 3. We are on the 5. So, to put it into perspective, right? Even if it is a $100 game, it's a $100 game for a decade.
Well, I mean, see, but the thing is, though,
People still play Grand Theft Auto 5 role playing as police and having weird interactions and sex with each other behind alleys, right?
hell, they're even doing hell, they do like a bunch of mods with like you could play as the freaking Avengers, or play as fucking Superman,
Right.
or
Yep.
play as like Invincible and Omni-Man in a mod. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
have,
doing
have sex with each other in an alley, like Roblox style. Yeah, they do that.
Roblox
I mean,
without the pedophiles, I hope.
Yeah, no, it's all consenting adults. It's just the same.
Roblox. Woo-hoo.
It's just the exact same problem in a different place. But, it's an M-rated game.
Hey, little
So they at
boy.
least all say they're grown-ups.
Do you like my build?
all right, we've gone through a bunch of things today. We did some TCG. We did, and no, that's it's not a drug. But that being said,
It is. You're lying to them.
we
Don't tell
talked
them that.
about trading card games. We segued into Mizkif and all that whole situation. We pivoted then. What did we do after that? I forget. But we've been on a lot of topics today. We wanted to keep it so that we're not doing just politics the entire time. And I think we successfully did that today. We just had a little bit of politics, but not much.
The teeniest bit of we hate Nazis. Like, that's gotta be agreeable.
It doesn't mean that there won't be episodes where a lot or a fair amount of politics are in it, but we do want to talk about other topics other than just politics, and I think we did pretty good. So, do we have any closing comments? We will start with Omega Lion.
So, gaming. Oh, I forgot to mention this. So a friend of mine told me, I don't know if this is true or not. This is what I've been told. Just repeating what's been told to me, that that in the EU they have banned microtransactions for gaming.
Decent.
So again, not sure if that's true or not, but that's what I've been told. And
The free market is a lie.
so there is that. I want to throw that in there real quick, that they it sounds like people are finally getting tired of microtransactions, because it
Ruins the medium.
It ruins, yes, it ruins the immersion, it ruins the spirit of whatever game you're playing. It's not the same. It is not the same. I agree. I don't mind some DLCs here and there as long as they're good and they provide a butt ton of stuff. But microtransactions these days, no. I would very much die on the hill of it's just slop. And also that's also what fuels the meta problem, is that because if you want to be good, then it's pay to play. Marvel Strike Force, big fucking example of pay to play. I've quit that game almost a year ago now, haven't looked back. But anyways, gaming in general, it's still changing. It's definitely changing before our eyes. But the question to ask is, what direction is modern gaming gonna go into? Is it gonna get worse, is it going to get better? Because with some of the things I've been hearing from this side of the aisle and that side of the aisle,
I think it's
I'm
going to
not sure where to go
change
with that.
completely. I mean,
Oh
it'll
yeah,
get
no shit.
worse as slop starts becoming more and more common. But I
Right.
think in the long run, we'll have something that kind of mimics Westworld. You know, something of that nature. Maybe it'll just be a fully digital version, and it won't be like actual robots. But I do see VR, AR,
Mhm.
all of the both of those technologies getting a lot better in the next decade by leaps and bounds, and it's going to be the case where you can just literally it will merge almost movies and video games, right? Like you can just go to whatever world it is. You know, if you want to be Star Trek and have your own, spaceship and do whatever, you would want to do in the Star Trek worlds, whether
You can do
that's
exactly.
whether that's with existing characters we've seen in movies or if it's just your own individual iteration of it, you could do whatever you want. And I think that's where it's going.
I used to think that that was going to be like an entire room of my house one day,
Right?
eventually, right? Like that's how it was going to work. And now we're getting to a point where we've got like haptic suits and VR headsets and other wearables, and like it's going to get so much more seamless. And it's crazy how far it's come. But yeah, it's like you look at each of these things, you'll see like this Grand Theft Auto trailer, you see the stuff with AI, other stuff with graphical processing and memory allowances and power generally, and like it's just a matter of time. We're just seeing all of it in its baby steps. This is
Right.
all just it in its infancy, and then eventually it's gonna collide, like we've been saying now for like almost 10 years. Like I said, I've been
Ready
thinking
Player
that
One.
like, yeah, some like alternative reality parallax stuff will really just allow you to live in whatever world you want to live in. And I mean like and superimpose that over the real world so that you can still coexist and participate in society. I
Right.
mean that. Like so then like you want the world to be steampunk. You want the world to be Final Fantasy. You want the world to look like whatever. You want to walk to work and kill a dragon just to feed yourself a little bit of fucking dopamine. Why not? Right? You can
Right.
have
Or
that.
have a fucking
And
hand a
it'll
big anime titty
yeah,
girl.
yeah. It'll happen. It's coming. Because
Yeah.
people need it to cope because they can't afford fucking food.
Right.
And the president is building a golden ballroom while people can't afford X.
Hey, you're supposed to shut up about the egg prices, remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, on that
But
note,
but hey, the long-winded topic, since we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! And augmented reality, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Did I get to make my final closing statement here?
yeah.
Just I just wanted to say that I liked the more positive nature of today's pod and that I want to know what makes you happy down in the comments. That would make me really nice. I want to discuss anybody that's listening. I want to know what they like to do, what brings you joy in this world. Give me something positive in your life.
All right. Well, on that note, we will call it for today. If this is content that you like, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like. If there's something you want to comment about, throw it into the comments. Obviously, if it's something you disagree with, then at least give us some context other than your poopy head. And as always, thanks a lot for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.